Hey, WokeNFree Nation. Newsly is an audio app for iOS and Android. It picks up web articles about the most trending topics on the web at any given moment and reads them to you in a natural human voice.
For the first time in the history of the internet, the entire web becomes listenable. Browse articles from topics you choose and start playing. Stop scrolling, start listening.
You can follow any topic as specific as you like, from sports, science, to Bitcoin, or even one of your favorite celebrities. It will find you the latest articles and read them to you aloud.
And they have podcasts as well. Explore trending podcasts from over 50 countries. Our podcast, WokeNFree, is there too.
Now let's get into the episode. Hi, it's Natasha.
And Khalil.
And we are the co-hosts of
WokeNFree.
Thank you for tuning in to our 263rd episode of WokeNFree. If you've been tuning in every week for WokeNFree Wednesday, you know that WokeNFree is all about being real and honest with each other and you. We talk about everything and anything important to us, you, the world, and nothing is off the table. This week, we're having a really fun conversation around 18 years of love lessons, because this month marks our 18th year anniversary of being together, which is really incredible, being that is half our lifetime.
Oh,
wow. 18 years ago this month, we met and fell in love and have a baby to tout over all these years later. And, it's going to be a really fun episode. So before we dive deep into the subject, a couple of things to go over. First, have you downloaded this episode on WokeNFree.com through the Podbean app? If not, please do so immediately, because through the app, you're able to put in your comments, and then you too can share about your love story. You can tell us what you thought about this episode. You can give us thoughts around things that we talked about within the episode. So lots to share. Make sure you do this. Now, if you listen to podcasts on devices where you can't download another app, which is not so great, but there is a solution. What you can do then is go to WokeNFree.com, go on the Listen tab, and then pick your platform of choice where you're going to follow and subscribe to the show at. So we're on iTunes, TuneIn, Stitcher, Google Play, YouTube. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, SoundCloud, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Pandora. It's a WokeNFree world. There, wherever podcasts are typically, you'll be able to find WokeNFree. So make sure you do that. On WokeNFree.com, you can also click subscribe to follow the show. And on social, you can find us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, TikTok, Pinterest, and LinkedIn at WokeNFree. And if you have 90 seconds, please review the show. Go to the Listen tab on WokeNFree.com and pick your platform of choice where you want to review the show at. And so with that, I'm going to kick it to you, Khalil.
And I'll take it from here. Before we start the conversation, we'd like to share a little bit about ourselves. This week we're asking, would you rather sunbathe nude on a public beach or have a nude scene in a Broadway play?
So you were feeling freaky for this one, huh?
I don't come up with these things. This is from a book. I didn't come up with this.
Okay.
Yeah.
But you're on the nude thing. Okay.
I'm not on the nude thing. The book was on it. I'm not on this. I would have never thought of this one.
So I guess for this to me is more so a question of, will you follow rules and regulations or be more creative in nature?
Well, I mean, you could be, you're not breaking any rules.
You're not breaking any
rules. This might be a public
se.
beach that allows nudity. I mean, I wouldn't I don't think that's what the question was going for.
Okay. So there's no legal implication.
Yeah, nothing. Yeah.
Here, then. Okay. Then I would probably argue that it probably would be better to sunbathe nude on a public beach than it would be for the Broadway play, because depending upon the plays, people may have access to their phones and they can take pictures and have recordings of this. In theory, where you may or may not want that done and may or may not want yourself out there looking like that. Depends on, what that body looked like.
Remember, this is you doing this. You're not talking about a hypothetical other person. This is you doing this.
So for myself, yeah, I would probably do the nude, the public beach nude.
Oh, you're going to do the beach then, because you think you're going to be more protected from that.
That would be more. I just don't know if I want, because there's a lot of documentation of Broadway plays. I just don't know if I want to be, have everything out there like that. That's interesting.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's interesting. I mean, the hard part is if you do the public beach, you don't know what kind of people are coming to that beach.
True.
But how they might be documenting you. They can bring in any type of cameras they want and really have every angle and have you out there.
True.
But in the Broadway play, you can actually, sometimes they don't allow you to use,
sometimes they don't.
Recording devices, and they're not going to necessarily take a picture of your nude scene and put that on the front page of the
But
newspaper.
that recently happened to one of the, I forget which actor, that he's like a famous actor on a TV show. He was on a TV show, and he had a nude scene where he was showing his, his thing, and
his whoop-de-woo?
His whoop-de-woo, and it looked so good that someone had to take a picture of it, and then it was smeared all over news outlets like the next day, and he felt violated, and it was like a whole thing. And so,
but that's because they allowed it recording devices.
It was not allowed, and the person stuck that phone in and got that whoop-de-woo.
But you know what? Because I'd be a part of the process of not allowing phones in. The phones would have to be put in a special bag that can only be unlocked when you leave the place. I'd put a lot of things in place. Not just say, all right, don't use your phone when you're here, guys, because they do that at places too. And I've been to a lot of plays where they say, please do not use recording devices.
Challenging for people.
But what you would do is just tell them you're going to actually confiscate people's phone, and they can have it on them, but you're going to put it in a locked bag that can only be unlocked when you leave the stage area. So that's the only way that I would do the Broadway play one. But the public beach, I think you're more out there. The only thing I would say at the public beach though is in your sunbathing, you can always kind of like hide your parts, kind of.
Exactly.
Compared to the nude scene in the Broadway play, you got to do whatever the director says.
Yeah.
So in the end, man, I might be swayed to do the public beach because I can control the narrative that way. Cause I can cover things, like, and I can obscure myself more than in a Broadway play. You can run into the
water when you want, and just
It might be easier, even though there's you don't know who's on the public beach. I think it would be easier to keep yourself secluded compared to the Broadway play. So I'd go with that.
Okay, cool. So let's hear the sloppy transition now.
What for what?
For this episode, we're talking about...
Oh, we didn't finish the episode already?
Exactly. That was the end.
I thought there was a lot of content right there.
And
yeah, there was a lot of content there.
No, we have more to share. We're here to talk about 18 different love lessons, 9 each. So
what?
I'm ready to go. I can just start.
Oh yeah, you need to just jump right into this.
It. You just gave up. Okay,
I didn't give up. I thought the episode was finished. I didn't realize.
Perfect. You lost your mind. That's nice. So in 18 years, sometimes your partners lose your mind. Just FYI. Okay, gotcha. So I would say my top 9 love lessons learned in our 18 years together are as follows. 1, and definitely chime in, Khalil, would be how you love will evolve as you evolve as a person. So not only from how you express your love, but also the ways that you want to receive love in the beginning may be very different from how things go as the years go on. Agree, disagree? Okay.
That's true. Mm-hmm. That's one of mine actually, but that's all right. I've worded things differently, so.
Okay. Interesting.
But I agree with that.
All right. The second one I would say is the longer you love someone, the easier it is for you to pick your battles. You definitely embrace the theory of don't sweat the small stuff a lot more the longer you are together, because you're just broken down and tired and you just don't have the energy anymore to fight. I remember in the beginning, we would definitely be tit for tat for everything. And now it's kind of both of us will self-regulate and just be nothing. So that the avoidance of arguments, is more meaningful than having it.
That's definitely true. When you're younger, you always want to be right, so you don't care what the cost is. You're just gonna do whatever it takes to prove your point, even though you can't win.
You can't win.
Yeah, you can't.
It's a losing battle.
Yeah.
Okay.
No point for it.
Okay. Number 3, keep your love and your problems private. I especially feel this way because we share so much, especially me. I share so much on social media. I try to be as much of an open book as I can be. But there are some things that you need to keep private. And that especially is meaningful when it comes to the ups and downs that you experience in your relationship, which you will. Love is not just about the rainbows. And if you are going to share stuff, that you need to only share it with folks who have your best interests in mind and who will give you advice that you would actually take. So don't take advice from people who have not had successful relationships. Don't take advice from people who are dissimilar from you and would make completely different choices from you. That's not going to be helpful for you. So.
Yeah, people make the crazy mistake of sharing what's happening in their love life on social media. I think that's one of the worst things to do for your relationship, because you're opening yourself to public trolls, and they're going to really come for you for no reason, just to bring you down. So it's not, you got to just be very crafty when you sharing things. It shouldn't be just straight up real stuff because people are going to come after you for that, and it's not going to help your relationship.
Yeah.
So that's definitely a good tip. I mean, for me, that's easy. Nothing in my life would have made me think to do that, but I know some people, they do that as soon as they can. They're feeling a certain way. They post exactly what's happening right on social media, and that to me is nuts, but I understand. People have to hear that.
I don't like to share. I do talk about love a lot, like on my like Facebook and stuff, but I talk about it from like quotes or phrases that I see that are meaningful to me. But yeah, I would
But you won't say like a specific like
incident or something that
like
you and I are
specific
going
things we
through.
discussed and then say, man, this person
but I will
did this.
share things where if I feel like it's throwing shade, I still enjoy that just because sometimes
not to do that for me though. That's all I like.
Who would I be throwing shade at then?
At other people that do stuff to you.
Other men,
other people that do stuff to you. You'll put stuff on there.
Interesting. I like that. That's how you view that.
That's how I think of it in my mind.
You're always right.
In my mind, you would never post anything that's throwing shade at me on social media.
Okay, good.
All right.
Okay. Number 4. Now you'll think twice about my post. Yep.
Well, that's one of my love lessons, though. That I know that you won't throw shade.
That's one of your love lessons. Lies and fairy tales. Lies and fairy tales, Khalil.
It seems like it's my lesson.
Okay, number 4, find couple time every day. You can't really put off time for your relationship because if you do, you'll end up 20 years later still not finding time for each other because there's always something else you can do other than spend time with each other, like sleep or use the bathroom. And then you risk falling out of love or growing apart, which is a real thing. You can't kind of joke around that. So for us, for our me time is not necessarily something that's like, oh, we have to have a romantic dinner every night, but it could just be content consumption, or creation or ongoing laughter. It is a house of laughter, riots in this house. And, usually there's good food either being made or eaten nearby. So we are foodies and that is a part of our me time. Even if it's just, eating just cheese stick and laughing about each other or nonsense.
Well, when you say foodies, it's only good food. It's not like exotic food.
We're not into
trying. There's people that eat different type of stuff,
like all sorts of
doesn't necessarily taste good.
Nasty. No. We're like good old soul
food. Like tasty food.
Things like that. Mm-hmm. Number 5, being happy with your partner every minute is completely unreal, and how love is portrayed in film and TV is completely different from reality. In content, you will see love as being this kind of endless love bubble that people live in. But the reality of love is that you're going to be mad at each other. You're going to be mad at each other over nothing and also something. And love is when you're still eating dinner with each other, or if you're going to go and do the laundry, you're going to go to bed and you may still be angry. And I know that some argue you should never go to bed angry. Good for you. If you go to bed angry, wake up the next day and still be there. Love is about consistency. It's about commitment. It's about loving someone through the times where they're glorious and through the times when they need grace. So that's what love is. It's not just about the happy bubble that sometimes exists or gets popped. Yeah. It's about the hard times as well.
Okay. I mean, the bubble should never be popped, but
sometimes it does because people are just too nonsensical. And that's where you have to, the love holds you through the challenges and you ride the waves of joy together, and it is what it is.
Yeah, that's true.
Number 6, pursue your personal passions. That should never be, prevented by being in love. It should only be encouraged and actually fostered by the loving relationship that you're in with your partner. So when you're happy, you can be happy through your passions, through what you want, and your partner needs to be there to support that. And through that, you'd be a better partner. You'll be a better lover. You'll be a better parent. If that's, part of your life, you'll be a better friend, child, etc. And then number 7, enjoy the outdoors with your partner, but also be equally excited to come home together and Netflix and chill. Love should be both exciting and calming. Sometimes I find that people are like, we can only be in love if we're doing these exaggerate.
But what if some people like to do stuff outdoors?
They can be, but eventually you have to be inside. And I think COVID taught us, right? A lot of relationships really crumbled because they were forced to be inside with each other, and they said, "Ooh, I don't actually like you on the inside." Like,
well, they don't want to be around them, but for too long, right? That's
challenging, right? Yeah, like that's the love, right? Where you can sit and stare at each other and be in a room for 2 months and not go outside. Like you've got to find
survive on a desert island.
Yeah, like,
right?
can you? Because I think COVID definitely
So
realized
a lot of these people
cannot survive a deserted island together, and that's challenging. So, just keeping that in mind, and if that's something that you haven't necessarily explored in your relationship, take this as the sign to start to find ways to engage and love each other on the indoors. Next, I would say number 8 would be having a child is a beautiful and exhausting experience that should be shared in a loving relationship if all parties involved in that relationship, and I say this because there are different types of relationships in the world now.
Wow. Okay,
that want that child. So if everyone is not on the same page, then the number one person who's going to suffer is that child. So just be mindful about that, as you and I have seen, and how our relationship has had to change and amend for our beautiful son. You have to both be committed. Now, do you have to do the same things to be a good parent? Absolutely not. You guys have to work out. All parties involved have to work out how they're going to parent. But everyone has to want to be a parent. And if you aren't, then that's going to be really, really sad for the child. And then my last love lesson, number 9, for me would be make an effort to focus on the good with your partner. It's really easy to hone in on all the annoying and frustrating parts of your partner. People are challenging. People are complicated. People are annoying as hell sometimes. So try to double down on the good and try to seek out the areas where they make you laugh, where they mesmerize you with their charm and all of that good jazz. And then if you're in the right relationship with the right person, for the areas of opportunity of growth for both the partner and yourself, then you both are going to make a commitment to both work hard on it, right? But ultimately, love, again, is not just about the glory, it's about the grace. And so you have to have that for both each other. So those are mine.
All right. Wow. You really put some thought into that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I put some meat in that one.
You know me, I like to keep it short and simple. Just get right to the point. I give you that filet mignon,
Mine was what?
I cut off all that extra fat. No, you got some extra stuff around there.
So I have the ribeye then. Okay.
I just give you the, I just serve it right up. Okay. It's like nice and hot like that. So my top 9 love lessons in our 18 years together. Mm-hmm. I'm going to start with number 1, and there's no particular order. These are just the ones that I could think of. Mm-hmm. Is that you need to support your partner even though you might not agree with them. Mm. That's an important thing, It's
support being what? Just explain that for folks.
So even if your partner is pursuing a passion and you might think it's a waste of time and money, you shouldn't get in the way of that. You need to be there for them. You need to just say,
encourage them.
You might not think it's the right choice of them doing something, but you still gotta be there for them. Okay. Support them regardless of whether you think it's a good decision or not. Because often you'll see that your partner does something like, well, I wouldn't do it that way, but don't try to get in their way and stop them. Let them do their thing. Right?
That's important.
Yeah, they need time to be able to. They need the right to make their choice, and then you got to learn on their own. And you'll see, maybe it was a better choice in the end too. You don't know. Just because you wouldn't do it doesn't mean it's the right choice.
True.
So the next lesson is that your partner might have a different love language than you.
Throwing shade, thank you.
Because not everybody has the common love languages, so it's good. You can learn about that.
We're gonna do
after being together with someone for a while. That's and it's important to learn it because then you're like, wow, you think something's wrong, but it's just that actually people love people differently. Mm-hmm. Number 3, you kind of mentioned it, and it's like the type of love changes over time. Like the love that you have in the beginning, I think it's a little different than after 18 years. It's not exactly the same because
is it less? Is that what you're
suggesting? It's more. I don't know. I feel like in the beginning, it's kind of like I call it like that honeymoon stage.
Oh,
it's really
it's
passionate, and
right?
it's not.
Yeah.
It doesn't take anything else into account. But over time, you see how it has to fit in with your daily life.
Okay.
And love is not just fun and games is another thing I learned. So it's not just having the good times. You got to be there for the hard times too.
Yeah.
When your partner's down and sad, you got to be there to hold them in your arms and let them cry on you.
You're so foolish. Stop watching the Hallmark Channel.
Well, we've gone through this of the 18 years. This has happened a lot with us. You know?
Yes.
Yeah, so you just gotta.
Which one of us were the crying person in that scenario?
It's an excelente question.
Oh,
excelente pregunta is what I say.
Gracias, señor.
You did muy bien with that. That's all I can really say for that kind of thing. I just want the listeners to try to guess on that.
Oh gosh, okay.
I don't want them to know straight out. They should be able to tell us.
Okay, put that in the comments. Who do you think was who cried more in this relationship?
Yeah. It's a good question.
Okay.
I think the number 5 is that love has to be practical to make it long lasting. And that kind of, it kind of encompasses like a couple of the things that you said that you have to, you got to work on your love for one.
Yes.
It encompasses that. It has to be not just, as previously I said, it's not just fun and games. So it's got to be things of, you got to deal with the hard times. You got to deal with somebody that's feeling, sad. And it's got to be able to work into your life. So if somebody likes to go outdoors a lot, you're going to have to figure out how to do that as well. And if they like to be at home, you're going to have to figure out how to do that. You got to figure out how to do things together. So otherwise it's not going to work. It's not just about, I love the person, but how does this work in our daily lives of living? Number 6 is love can be silly, not just romantic, because I think Hallmark Channel likes to show romantic love, but it doesn't show that, like people just having fun together and telling jokes and laughing.
You would know, right? Yeah.
What about the Hallmark Channel?
Do you even know what that is?
Yeah, I know what that is. Why wouldn't I? I know of a lot of channels. I know of them. Not that I watch them, but I do know of them. Like that, the infamous channels. I know that kind of stuff. Cool. Number 7 is your bond. It will be tested, so you have to actively strengthen it. So there's people that will try to get in the way of your relationship. It could be family and friends. You just got to be able to weather that storm. And I'd say work on your love so that things like that don't break it apart.
Gotcha.
Number 8 is that love gets split for each child you have. So your love is not just, let's say you have 100% love for your partner. I'm not saying that's the truth, but I'm just saying that's the number. When you have a child, some of that love is going to have to go to the child. You can figure out how much you want to give it to, but either way, it goes to that child.
90-10 split.
but the amazing thing is then once you have another child, your love goes down more and has to be split again.
Pretty much you just become strangers again.
Well, it depends on how many children you have.
Danger.
If you have 10 children, then you see your love, it's getting low. That love tank isn't full
really
anymore.
So we're really at 0.1% at that point then.
So it's just this is a good tip though. People need to think about. I mean, they may not agree, but they'll see. They'll find out after 18 years. What?
Be mindful about human population.
It takes from your love tank.
From the love,
it's a tank. You have a tank. It's not. People will lie. My love's unlimited. That's a lie. You're not.
Well,
you're just
human beings are finite, so everything within us has to be finite.
Well, our love is forever. All that you could say all that stuff, but either way, your love's getting split if the more children you have.
The reason why people also say that is because, again, we're tapped into an endless, limitless universe, right? So ultimately,
I don't agree on that, but all right.
Okay.
I don't think the universe is infinite. I think everything's finite. But it depends. But some people some people believe the universe is infinite and all that stuff. It's
endless, Okay.
Then for them that can work. But to me, the universe is finite. Like everything's finite. I think everything has the only thing I'd say now, if you go outside of the universe, that might be infinite. I don't know what that is, but I'm talking about like our actual universe that we're in. I know it's finite, but outside of that, that would be the infinite. I think the universe has a beginning and an end. I mean, I could be wrong though too, right? Who could say? That's just my belief. But then the last thing is that love does make you do impractical things as well.
Get married?
Like people, I just want to say that's one, it's a true statement that people will say. I mean,
being married is impractical?
No, I'm saying that love, people always say love makes you do crazy things, and I agree, it does make you do crazy things.
What's the craziest thing you've done for love?
The craziest things I've done for love? I mean, a lot of stuff. No, like fight another champion. Stuff like that. In your mind? Like in the metaverse, you mean? No, because you fend off people because they'll try to talk to your love, and then you'll say, "You better not talk to her. You're gonna get a fist of this."
A fist of this.
Yeah. At least I'd say we're gonna engage in fisticuffs.
Fisticuffs.
Yeah. Dude, that's what I do for my love.
You don't even take anything serious at all. Just everything's a flippant joke.
Really? That's a joke. That seems like a rule.
Comes when are you?
Yeah, no, I'm saying that. Yeah, but that's how you protect your love.
How would you say that to someone?
Exactly how I said. Excuse me, sir. Would you like to engage in the old-time practice of fisticuffs?
Exactly.
That's what I would say.
Exactly. You are out of your mind.
So that's an impractical thing, though, to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Here we go, yo. So what's the scenario? It's scenario time, guys. Scenario 1. Tenzing has been with Torin for 18 months. He thinks the best time to propose is at Torin's dog hotel launch party. Do you think this is a sound decision?
This is an odd scenario.
It is? Seems really straightforward.
Seems odd to me.
Oh, okay.
But I would say, I think it ultimately can be a beautiful thing because hopefully at this dog hotel launch party, there's press and there are family members and friends. And so it is a convenient time being that, they're probably going to both have the people that they care about the most at this party. So instead of having to spend money on another type of an event, you kind of just co-op it for this. And then also it could even help from a press publicity perspective of like new dog launch party. And by the engaged couple, newly engaged, it's a nicer addition to the story, the PR story there. So I would say it could be sound as long as all parties involved want to get married. And, and if they don't, then this would really suck to do this at your partner's party.
Yeah. Yeah, I think this is, you can do this. I just don't agree in that I think you're like co-opting the event by trying to bring up this marriage now. I don't know. I think there's a better time to do it. To me, it doesn't have to be so public, but I know people like to do public engagements.
Yeah, people do love a public
expression. I think this one's kind of crazy because you're already having a big thing happen. Mm-hmm. So I don't know if this is the right time.
And hopefully you feel comfortable with the ring choice.
Yeah, and because everybody's going to see this.
So it makes it a lot bigger. So as long as everyone feels okay about that.
Yeah. Scenario 2. Latasia has been in love for 18 days. She thinks she has met her soulmate, and they are the best match for each other. Do you think you can know who to marry after 18 days?
I would say, for me personally, I think you can fall in love in 2 weeks. I think it's not a matter of time. It's a matter of quality time spent with someone. If you spend a significant amount of time with someone for an extended period of time, and that could be a week, it could be 7 months, it doesn't matter. At the end of the day, if you are getting clarification as to who that person is and how they operate, and you can begin the journey of love. Now, I think that there are different stages of love. I think that beginning, what's that called? Like the infatuation stage is easier to get into with a partner, especially in the beginning of things. But ultimately, you still need a little bit of more time with the person just to see how they act in other situations outside of you. You need to observe what anger looks like for that person, how they handle money, what type of parent they would be, how do they deal with drugs and alcohol, things like that. That takes time. That's really hard to accomplish all of that in like 30 days or less. Yeah. But do you know you want to marry the person after 18 days? Ultimately, I would say you don't know. You may want to marry the person. Like, you may develop the intention behind wanting to marry someone within 18 days, but I don't think you know that you should marry the person in 18 days.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think you know who you want to marry after 18 days. I think you need more time to really decide that. You haven't even met, or maybe you've met their family and friends, but I don't know.
It's not a significant amount of time to...
Yeah, it seems that seems rushed to me. 18 days is not that long. Scenario 3. Kiara started communicating for 18 hours nonstop with a person on a social media website. Conversations are so powerful that she can't take herself away from her phone screen. Do you think this is a real person she should meet, or does she need more time to make sure she is not being catfished?
So she probably needs to have more time to determine that she's not being catfished and get some sleep. And
get some sleep you would recommend.
Yeah, I mean, communicating for 18 hours nonstop sounds super romantic, but it also sounds super exhausting, and that you're also avoiding other things in your life that you should be doing, like eating or working out or sleeping or,
Even
spending time with God, whatever.
Even if you wear one of those beer caps and a diaper.
Amazing. Yeah.
Then you can't, that still doesn't get it all done.
You still need to get other stuff done. And love shouldn't be co-opting other parts of your life, right? To be in love, it means I can't speak to my parent, or it means I can't work out. It means I can't do things for me. Like, love needs to be an addition, not a subtraction from your life. And so you have to be mindful. Again, you're in that infatuation period where people are infatuating. Like, when you meet new people, it can just absolutely be one of the most exciting, riveting things in your life. However, you have to have it play out, and things will sizzle out sometimes with people. Some things like, I love that joke that Miranda makes in Sex and the City where Carrie, it's in the movie, the first movie, where Carrie doesn't get married to Mr. Big immediately. The wedding kind of falls through, and then they go on her honeymoon to Mexico, and so it's all the girls, for the Sex and the City gang, and they see a couple that's from a table across from them, and they're like making out hot and heavy, and Miranda says, "Yeah, it's so hot and heavy in the first 3 days, right?" Like, it's nice. In the beginning, you are magnetized to a person, and it's powerful and meaningful, but it is not a full picture of what loving that person is going to be like. People can be really challenging. People can be moody. People can be deceptive. People can be also just like not even sure about who they are and what they want. So how can you be sure about them in such a short time?
Yeah, this is definitely not enough time. I think you definitely should wait for meeting the person. Because if you jumped on it right now, this person might even ask you, "Hey, can you help me purchase a new cell phone?"
I knew you were gonna say that. I knew those words were coming right out of you. It was as if I read your mind.
You acted like I was waiting for a chance to say this. Come on.
Waiting because you were influenced by the family Shinto.
Oh, is that where that came from?
Correct.
That's not just something I thought of. Is that someone might ask to help
this specific with the purchase scam of a phone? Is a specific one reference that came from that TLC show.
Oh, so that's what that is. All right.
I knew you were about to say that.
But that's the only thing I think about is when you only have 18 hours with somebody.
That really got your goose, didn't it?
Because could you loan me? Could you give me somebody to help me buy a phone?
For the iPhone. Any person asking somebody else to get you a phone other than a parent is absurd.
But no, it's not just buy me a phone. Just give me some money. Like, you're going to give me like 80% of the cost and I'll pay for the rest.
It blows my mind.
Not the straight up ask.
It's acceptable to ask for and
to ask for some money. Person, yeah. But it's for the good of the couple.
People it's really hard, but it's really hard for me to tell anyone to buy me anything. I think that's like hard. Like, people have to ask me. I can't really ask them.
But when you first meet somebody, you're going to ask them to buy you a phone?
Well, again, it's not when you first meet them. It's after this 18 hours of hot and heavy conversations.
Exactly.
Right? Yeah.
So make sure the person's real and they're just not trying to get a cell phone out of you. Because then you're just going to feel really played.
That is a scam that you can avoid if you listen to this episode.
You call that a scam? I don't know if I call it a scam, but I mean, that's interesting. I mean, I know being catfish is a scam.
International folks sometimes are spending time working with us in America.
What if this person just broke, though?
As everyone else says to me, most people are, right? Like, so.
No, but I mean, they might have just said, "Yeah, I really just need this phone. Once I get this, I'll never ask you for anything again."
I know,
but not that. It's usually a red flag, though. Usually, that's not it. So
this to me is it's usually a red flag. It's an interesting issue because it's. Like, so if everyone hasn't read the Four Agreements by Don Miguel Ruiz, you should read it because, like, for me, like, as a part of my love agreement would be that I wouldn't expect for someone to ask me that, right? But there are other people in the world who think it's completely acceptable to say that you're dating someone and you have the right to ask them for something.
Yeah, they ask for stuff.
That's not an agreement.
Because some people do just ask their partner for stuff. Yeah. And like, can you get me this? And they're like, yeah,
that's
sure.
That's not how I was raised, and that's not how I view love. I think that for me, if you're an adult, you should pay for yourself. From beginning to the end. And if people want to be gracious and pay for you for things, that's fantastic. But you should not be asking people to pay for anything for you once you become 18 years old. So it's a challenging situation. But ultimately, 18 years been together. What's your last words of wisdom or last phrase of the day before we wind this down?
The last words of wisdom for 18 years is that,
for us, yep.
You're going to, I think after the first 5 years, you're going to forget how many years even went by. It's going to feel like you've been with the person for a lifetime.
So you'll enter a coma. You will not be present anymore.
You won't even think of it. It'll just be like you've kind of fused into this one being. That's what you'll feel like.
Human centipede?
No, not that way, though. No, you fuse of different... You're not going to fuse from that end. You're going to fuse from different end. It's going to feel like you're just going to become, like, so on point with just knowing what your partner... Kind of like how your partner thinks and their actions. And I guess the thing is you just got to throw a monkey wrench into it so you don't get tired of the
monotony of the day.
Because you're going to get too used to it. You're going to get good at it.
That's where kids fit in really lovely. Because you're like, you got something stuck where? And you did well. Like, kids are great at
they'll change it. They'll change it up every day. Yeah, you'll be like, oh, man, I can't even know what's going on. Yeah. They'll throw some excitement into it. But, yeah, you just got to make sure you're keeping things different. Like, don't make it just be the same old every day.
Okay. I would say after 18 years together, my words of wisdom is have fun. I'm very grateful for all of our beautiful moments shared, but also just like super grateful for the humor that we share, because it really does add to life and it just makes things that much more fun and entertaining. And like, one of my favoriteest things is to make people laugh, but specifically to make you laugh, because it is such a shocking release of joy. Because you're like, what? And you just start laughing. It's just so funny. And so I just encourage you to have as much laughter with your partner and have as much joy as possible. And even in the bad times, find a way to get to a place of laughter soon enough, because this too shall pass. It is, that speaks to the good and the bad and everything in between in life. And there's many more years, hopefully, for more laughter and fun for us. So,
Wow. All right.
Yeah, absolutely. With that, it looks like we are at the time again. It is coming to the end of our 263rd episode of WokeNFree. Weirdo. This was quite the episode discussing 18 years of love lessons. Khalil, what do folks need to do now?
Come back next week for the new WokeNFree Wednesday episode. Make sure you follow us on social media to follow along in the conversation. And make sure you tune in next week for WokeNFree Wednesday to join the conversation at WokeNFree.com.
If you'd like to be a guest on the show, please submit a topic for an upcoming episode. We are considering folks for 2023. So you can hit us up on our Contact Us page at WokeNFree.com. That's WokenFree.com. You can also find us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, TikTok, Pinterest, and LinkedIn at WokenFree. And all sponsorship and collaboration queries should be sent to us on our Contact Us page at WokenFree.com.
If you didn't already subscribe, please do share the episode and make sure you come back to join the conversation every Wednesday for WokenFree Wednesdays. Remember, WokenFree is more than a podcast. It is a way of life. Until next time.